Matters into their own hands. We're seeing it more and more here in Portland as police response times have suffered in recent years, and for one man, it almost cost him his life.
This is so scary, as tonight we are hearing from that man who survived a shooting. This ordeal, though, started as an attempted car theft, which got physical and resulted in the shooting. The fight caught on camera, too, showing the symptoms of the city that it is experiencing. To Elise Haas now with this report we'll see only here on Queen 6, Elise.
And so when I was talking to the victims, they were just talking how brazen the car thieves are at this point, but also just how surprised that they even took it on themselves to try and intervene. And so when we see things like this happening in our city, it means that we need to be asking some tough questions about the circumstances and policies that have contributed to this.
And I turn back and he's pointing a gun at me, and then just gunshot goes off.
Morgan Cho is lucky to be alive.
Couldn't hear, everything was just like ringing.
Take a look at how this attempted car theft unfolds. This week, Cho saw a stranger getting into his friend's silver SUV.
It seemed like they had been here before because they just they were able to just get in and they didn't have to break in, like the lock cylinder was already gone.
Cho goes to confront and stop the suspected car thief. Police say Cho told the stranger to get out of the car, and the suspected thief immediately took a swing at him. The two men are seen fighting in the street at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Cho gets the suspected thief to the ground. As he pushes the thief one last time, the stranger gets up, pulls out a gun, and shoots at the victim. Cho ducks for cover and doesn't get hit. Other surveillance cameras capture the getaway car and the suspected thief taking off down Northeast 69th Street away from Gleason. That's when they were on the phone with 911.
We didn't see the police for probably like 20 or 30 minutes, maybe at least.
Cho's father is beside himself.
How did we get to this point where we actually felt like we could take it in our own hands and actually try to apprehend somebody?
Sean Cho says he and his son were disappointed in PPB's response. They say it took so long that a homeless person ended up taking important evidence, like the sweatshirt and tools.
There's no greater patrol. We haven't seen any more police around here. We haven't seen anybody do any follow-up. You know, and that just seems like it's not a resource issue. It is a mentality issue.
I took these concerns to Ron Louie, a former Oregon police chief.
There basically is an erosion of trust in the police in many parts of our country.
Currently, Louie is a criminology professor at PSU and researches this issue.
The perception out there is great that the police are now maybe punishing us. Okay, you want you want to defund, you don't want more cops. Well, we're not going to come to your call.
Often, he's seen crimes where victims have hard proof, just like this video,
where they actually have evidence and there's no follow-up or follow-through. And that's what people are most frustrated with. And it's a consequence of resources.
Louis says there needs to be a faster response time from PPB and greater investigative follow-up.
That takes a lot of time and legwork.
But it's the investigative legwork that Louis says pays true crime-fighting dividends.
So if you focus in on that smaller percentage who are committing the greater crime, you will have an impact. But if you're not even following through, that one thief that tried to steal the car or do this and that, you think that's his or her first time doing it? No, multiple crimes could be solved.
PPB says they have been putting a lot of effort into stopping car thefts. On Saturday alone, Portland police made 33 stops, recovered 14 stolen cars, 2 guns, and arrested 11 people. But without making meaningful relationships with crime victims, Louis says he's not surprised to see the increase in private security in Portland, as well as people taking matters into their own hands.
So you're having people use force against each other, either suspects or victims, and you're going to see more and more of that.
Where do we go from here?
Louis says the top priority is for officers to earn back people's trust.
You can even hire a whole bunch of cops. But if people still feel a loss of trust or believe that their police are going to help them or respond, so the answer, it takes time.
In cities Portland's size, Louis says it could take several years for police to regain the community's confidence. As for the Cho family,
I would not do that again. My own life, someone else's life is worth more than, just trying to go stop something yourself.
It will take time to recover from this scary situation. I contacted PPB and they say they got to the scene about 10 minutes after the 911 call. So the time discrepancy for the Cho's account was likely because they say the officer didn't come straight to their house but was out talking to one of their neighbors. So police were unable to talk on camera today, but as a result, I am coordinating time to sit down with the president of the Portland Police Association and possibly the mayor as well to discuss how we move forward as a community to mend these kinds of issues.
So a citizen taking matters into his own hands, trying to stop a car thief, and you think, well, that's really rare. You found out not necessarily.
Yeah, this isn't a one-off. On Monday, I'm working to confirm 2 other situations that were just like this, also extremely dangerous, where people were trying to confront car thefts right outside their homes.
How frightening when we looked at that video and you see him pull out the gun and just start firing. It's amazing he wasn't hit.
He wasn't hit. He says the building behind him wasn't even hit. So he says it's really scary because it could have hit another car, another person, a bystander, you name it. So these are situations we need to get a handle on.
All right, Elise, thanks.
And you touched on that stolen car problem that we, of course, are seeing. Well, then this happened today.